Farah Hanoun here in Amman, Jordan, alongside Brave Combat Federation lightweight champion Abdul-Kareem Al-Selwady. Abdul-Kareem, how are you?
I'm doing great. We're actually in the last day before the weigh-ins, so this is usually the day where all fighters are cranky. But I'm happy. I'm here in my hometown, Jordan, defending my title, doing what I love doing best. So I'm blessed.
And I was going to ask you, you fought in Jordan before, but never as a world champion. Just tell me how much this means to you to get to be part of arguably the best card in Middle East history and as a world champion.
I mean, to be honest, it is a great thing, yes, but it's not adding anything to me. The importance of just getting into a fight and winning the fight is always my top priority, more than just adding pressure on myself like, oh, it's my hometown, oh, it's the world championship belt, oh, it's someone coming to take what's mine. For me, it's always the same thing, which is I'm in a cage against another guy and I have to beat this guy. Adding more pressure is just going to be negative for me, so I just think about it like that. The only positive side I see this is just, I get to have my friends and family here, and I get to go home sooner than having to wait to travel. And that's it for me, really. But, me holding the title, or, I feel the same hunger as if the title isn't mine and I'm coming to take it. So it's the same thing for me.
And let's revisit your title win. Of course, you beat Lucas Martins, UFC veteran. A lot of fights under his belt. It did end in an unfortunate way, but in my opinion, you were looking great up until that moment. Does it bother you a little bit that people try to take away from that victory because it ended like that, as opposed to looking to what you were doing prior to that?
It actually doesn't bother me at all. I know that might surprise you, because the only people talking are basically the Brazilian fans. If it's either Lucas Martins fans or Luan's fans. But I did exactly what I had to do. I followed the plan from the beginning seconds of the fight. Yes, he was injured, but I was also destroying him before he got injured. I got him rocked. It wasn't like nothing was happening and he just got injured all of a sudden. I was getting him off of his timing. He couldn't catch me in any shots. I was rocking him. And then when I got that big takedown, he said he got injured. I don't know, one day. He was saying it was his neck, then he was saying it was his knee, then on social media, a couple days later, he's training like crazy, like nothing happened. So I don't really buy it with all the injury thing, whatever. But I did exactly what I had to do, and I got into that fight, with the mindset that I was going for 5 rounds of war, and I was able to finish it early, and that's about it for me.
And let's talk about your matchup now. You're taking on another Brazilian, Luan Santiago. Have you seen him around at the hotel, or had any, not altercations, but kind of face-offs or meetings or anything with him?
Yeah, I've just seen him around the hotel. Yesterday we were training in the same room. He wouldn't even look at me in the eye. I was looking at him, he wouldn't even look at me. And I feel like I have him already destroyed, because on social media he talks so much, but in reality he's not even looking at me yet. And so I know he's not ready for what's coming. I know he's trying to hide behind his trash talk, behind the words he's saying. He's trying to play with my mind, but I've been talked to all of my career. This is fighting, and he's not bringing anything new to the table that I haven't seen. So come Friday night, I'm coming to fight.
And I was about to ask you, what do you make of him, his skill set? How would you break down his skill set? Have you watched his previous fights, and have you been impressed with him at all?
Yeah, I watched his fights, and I'm actually impressed, because this guy is not a one-dimensional fighter. He not only is a striker, but he's a grappler, and he's a southpaw and orthodox. So this guy, he doesn't fight in just one way. He switches from orthodox to southpaw. He'll take his opponent to the ground if he needed to. He'll strike. I feel like I found his weaknesses, and I've been working a lot against those weaknesses, and I'm going to expose them Friday night, inshallah.
Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
So I have my head coach, Coach Saif Saud. He's flying in. And also my teammate, Ramez Brahima, because he was like my main sparring partner at this camp as well. And he knows a lot about my opponent and my training and my style. So it was great to have him here during this fight week to help me with the preparations. And also at the same time, he wanted to see the Middle East, and I thought this was a good way to show him the Middle East.
And tell me how important training at Fortis MMA has been for you. The team has had so much success. You've been a large part of that as well. Just the energy in the room, seeing your teammates do so well, does that fuel you when you come out?
Definitely, 100%, because each one of us, before he gets in these fights, we go through a very hard camp, and we see what each guy has been through. So sometimes you go through the camps, you go through days of doubt where you just feel like nothing is working. You feel like you're weak. You feel like, you're getting beat up, but you're really getting beat up by someone else that's like a UFC top fighter or something. And when you see that same UFC top fighter, going through that stage of getting beat up and feeling down, then going to the fight and dominate, you know that it's just that the training is so hard, and it's much tougher than the fight, that when it's your time to go, you're going to dominate your opponent as well. So seeing all the hard work you and your teammates go through, and they're winning, and you know that what you're doing works, gives you a big boost in confidence. And training with Fortis MMA has been a life changer for me. It's not just winning my fights. For me, it's not just the win. It's actually me personally knowing that my level is getting better each fight, and I can see a big difference each camp. I'm doing much better if it comes to my grappling, my striking, my physical conditioning, even my mental game, the way I look at fights. Each time training at Fortis gives me more of a veteran type thinking, and I feel like that's a big game changer.
One last thing before I let you go, how do you envision this fight going down with Luan? Do you have a prediction?
Listen, Farah, I've envisioned this fight maybe 2,000 times already in the past couple months. I knocked this guy out like 500 times. I submitted him 500 times. I beat him by decision, domination so many times. There's just so many possibilities I could beat this guy with. I don't even know myself. But what I do know is that I'm going to stick to my game plan. I'm going to be very focused and determined in there, and I'm going to bring the win in any way possible.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and best of luck.
You.